Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Got a quote for you today. The church is like a bicycle. It stays upright as long as it keeps moving. These are the words of Pope Francis, and we all know that Pope Francis is going through a really difficult time right now with some health concerns. He's had a pretty bad pneumonia and some kidney issues as well now. People are praying, people are pilgrimaging. People are on their way to the Vatican or visiting the Vatican, St. Peter's, to pray for the health and recovery of Pope Francis. So why bicycle? Why the reference to bicycle? Well, it's actually something that's been going on for a long time. There's a long history since the early 20th century when cycling really started to take off with the first Tour de France's and Giro d'Italia's. And there was a time when they weren't so sure if the Vatican was going to support cycling. But they did, and they really embraced it. And to the point where in 1948, Pope Pius XII actually built a chapel on a very steep mountain road outside Rome that he then named Our Lady of Cycling. So there's a good history there. And the current Pope, Pope Francis, has had a lot of really great interactions with some of the star cyclists and even with a lot of cyclists who are raising money for charity, and we'll see some examples of this in a bit here. In 2018, Peter Sagan had an audience with Pope Francis, and that was right at the end of the run of 3 world championships that Peter Sagan won. So he had his audience with Pope Francis, and he actually gifted him with a specialized road bike that was done up in the colors of the Vatican. So that was a really cool interaction. And then in 2021, we also see that Pope Francis met with Egon Bernal, coming from Colombia. Pretty sure he's a fairly devout Catholic. He described the audience as one of the great moments of his life. But he also presented the Pope with a Pinarello Dogma F12. And this was done up in the colors of Argentina, which of course is the homeland Pope Francis. Now, there's also this case of this charity group called Inspired Living, a group of 10 cyclists of all ages that rode from the Vatican back to England to raise money for cancer research. I think they raised close to £500,000 British pounds in this, and they did receive a papal blessing from Pope Francis ahead of their departure for that trip to raise the money. So he's always been involved in these kinds of issues. Now, Pope Francis has also been very outspoken against doping. While he gives cycling his blessing, he also cautions quite a bit about doping, dishonesty, and corruption. And as we all know, this is not unwarranted. We've seen enough issues with doping, and we've seen enough issues with dishonesty and corruption in the world of cycling, and it's sometimes gets a little ugly. But he does also value cycling very, very much for its place in the areas of discipline and courage and selflessness. So, it's unfortunate that he's not doing well right now, but Pope Francis is a big fan of cycling and has really had some wonderful interactions over the years with different cyclists and with charity groups. And he's not been shy about the issues of doping. So we're going to hope for a speedy recovery for him. I know he's 88. I know it's probably, closer to the end for him than many people would care. He's been a very open-minded and progressive Pope, and we can just hope for his well-being. So that's what we got today. Again, Pope Francis not doing very well, and people around the world, the billion-plus Catholics, hoping and praying for his recovery. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.